What is up, everybody? Escape211 here. Sorry, I've been a little bit behind on putting out videos or content. I've been feeling a little under the weather, if you can tell from my voice. So I haven't said much about this update, but I wanted to make a video because people were asking me, are you going to be talking about this new content? And I really wanted to. It's just been hard to do so. So I'm going to do that now. And hopefully I'll still plan on doing my live coming up this weekend like I usually do. But I definitely wanted to comment on all this stuff so it doesn't like take forever me talking and blabbing about it on the live if we do it. So with that all said, let's get into some of the things about the devlog, and if you have not seen the devlog or the update notes, I will leave links below for you guys to check them out, but you can check that stuff out, and we'll just quickly go over some of the highlight stuff now. All right, so first of all, let's talk about the free-for-all mode. This one was mentioned again. Looks like they're getting closer to having it done, but it doesn't seem like it's one that they're ready to actually add into the game quite yet. They've talked about it being one where, you know, it's close, but they didn't say it was going to be in this next update. So I'm assuming it's going to be an update or two from now. But, you know, looks close on the wings, which is really cool. That's exciting. But next up, they talked about the idea of a battle pass, which sounds really interesting to me. Now, I know a battle pass could be really good or really bad for people because of people's experience in other games. I have seen battle passes work well, and obviously there's been times that they suck. So I have my fingers crossed and that it's going to be a good experience. From the picture that they did show of it, it looked really interesting and mostly cosmetic or simple stuff to just help you progress faster. And what's really good about this that I didn't hear many people talk about, at least in my mind, if this is what they're trying to do, the XP boost that comes on the premium side could be a really beneficial thing for a lot of people. And here's why. Matchmaking right now is largely based on XP, your XP path, right? So if you have 50k XP and another player has 50k XP, but they've spent money to get things like, you know, Zephyr and Carbines or Redox and that stuff, it's not going to be that fair of a match between the two of you. But this is a way that they can still get value for their money and hopefully climb up the XP path faster so that free-to-play players and paying players won't match up against each other as much. I don't know if this is what they're trying to do, but if that's the case, I actually think it's an interesting possible solution to matchmaking, but still allowing people to get like premium value out of stuff if that's what they're trying to do. So, I mean, I will say I'm hopeful about the Battle Pass, but it's too hard to tell quite yet based on what we've seen. But they also told us about 2 new mechs that are coming up, all right? So first of all, we have Stalker, which we know more about because it seems like he's going to be coming in really soon, maybe this update, maybe right after. And they did tell us that he is an attacker mech and that he is medium. He'll have 24 energy max and that he will be rare. They said that in the video. And then for us partners, they did tell us a little bit more about his ability, which is called Predator Drive. And when he goes into this mode, he will be able to dish out 50% more damage as well as receive 50% more damage. And then any mech that he kills, he will get 10% HP from. This sounds like a really interesting ability. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. This guy looks like he's very similar to Panther in terms of his size and all that stuff. So I don't think he's going to be crazy heavy. And especially if he goes into Predator mode, he'll probably be really easy to take down. However, if he can utilize that and burst someone down really quickly, it could be pretty effective. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to say with this mech what it's actually going to be like, but it sounds really interesting. The other one that they touched on, Hidezo, that one obviously has a little bit more time for when it actually becomes available in game, but they did talk about its ability a little bit, and it's kind of like the leap that Lancer has, but when it lands, it will damage and stun, like a stasis type of stun, anybody within the range, any enemies. So it almost sounds like this guy is going to be more of a light ambusher. They did say that this will be a light mech, so he should have max 16 energy, and they said he will be rare. So with both of these mechs, I will say it sounds like they're going to be more available, kind of like how Arachnos was, instead of being like super premium like some of this other stuff we've seen lately. But I don't know, it's really hard to tell what they plan on doing. They obviously, you know, have their own prerogative of doing stuff, but he does sound really interesting. I don't know how effective he will be. Like I said, similar to Lancer, but lighter overall, and then I'm assuming his ability will have a longer cooldown just because it has the extra effect of doing damage and the stun. So I don't know, really interesting idea. We'll see how it plays out once we see more on it or see it in game. All right, they also mentioned that we have 2 new maps. These maps will be CPC maps that they're going to be added, but they're only going to have 3 capture points, much like the Skyship. I got to say, I like the idea of using some of the other maps that we've had to kind of restructure things. So the idea of Forbidden City or Neo Hokkaido, as well as the kind of like cyberpunk style maps that we don't use too much because it's in 2v2, is nice to see in CPC. It'll help to liven up that mode. However, I'm not a huge fan of the 3 beacon type of maps. I think it's less tactical, less strategy involved, and I like that more personally. But I will say that those matches usually move along quicker. So, you know, it's nice that it gives something for everybody. That's just my personal taste. But next thing I wanted to mention was not in the video, but something they had in their notes, which was the idea of the referral system changing. Looks like they're really only going to let us have to focus on getting 3 people in the game as opposed to a whole bunch, which is nice. And it gives us a stronger incentive. It looks like we're going to have some cryo or freezing based Jav 6s. Sounds really cool. Really hard to say anything other than just nice incentives for the referral system. That's overall what they showed in these videos, or in this video. But one thing that I wanted to mention, because a lot of people were saying it, there's one shot in here that looks like an Easter egg where Shadow has what looks like a shotgun type of weapon on him that looks different than what we had. A lot of people are saying, is this maybe a higher level shotgun, a 6 or an 8 or something? I mean, we know that there are some higher level weapons where they've been teased before for the missile rack and the javelin. So this may be the case, but they also said in the notes for this new update that the shotguns will have an updated look to them and design, the shotgun 2 and 4. So this might just be a refresh of the design, and we're not actually going to get anything special for it. Hard to say yet, but who knows, right? I mean, it still was cool to see something like that. Hopefully it means a new weapon, right? But who really knows for sure? But that's kind of the overall thought of it. I actually think a lot of this stuff is really good. The only real big bummer for me is that clans have not been mentioned. They really haven't been mentioned much for a while, and that's something that I personally am really looking forward to. I think that this game needs to get behind and encourage clans versus everybody who's forming their own clans. I think if they do that, that's going to help high-level competitive play more, and that's going to just be good for the game and everybody wanting to play endgame to play against each other. I just think that that's a better, you know, an incentive for a lot of people to try and get all their stuff. But maybe that's just me. I just think that it's a big item that hopefully they'll be able to put more time into sooner rather than later. But that's really all I was going to say about this video. Like I said, I'm still hoping to do my live if I feel good enough for it. But yeah, I still wanted to make sure I commented all this stuff, and I didn't want to talk too long when we do the live. Yeah, all that said, guys, I hope you appreciated it. Please feel free to leave your comments below. We will see you out there on the battlefield.